I was returning back from playing a load of gigs overseas, and actually I just started another tour, and we'd had the rug pulled out under our feet, and forced into this universal state of panic and despair.
I mean, firstly, a life-threatening virus going around did wonders for my health anxiety. But thinking about my career was even scarier.
No live music. That's going to be a bit difficult. And to suddenly be thrust upon you that you're now not going to be doing live music for a while is quite a daunting prospect. All this was suddenly going to come to a stop, and it's like, oh my crikey, what are we going to do now?
Back in March, the beginning of lockdown, I think there were about 2 weeks for me where it felt like a free holiday. And then the realization that this was going to be for quite some time and an indefinite period of time, it suddenly didn't feel like a holiday anymore.
There was a lot of uncertainty, what was happening in the industry, what was going to happen with our band, the livelihood of things. So I think everyone was a bit unsure about whether we were going to be gigging again and how soon that would be.
Bookings that had been in the calendar for a long time that I was really excited about were just diminishing by the day and being, rearranged or cancelled, and then, later on we'd realised that these rearrangements meant cancellations, and, the whole summer of festival was just gone.
Throughout lockdown, I've realised the longer I've gone without kind of playing shows or having contact with people in that way, that two-way that performers have with a crowd, the more scrambled my head has become and less kind of balanced. So it's everything.
See, it was a really scary time with a serious amount of uncertainty, which is a word I think everyone's heard a lot at the end of emails or the start of emails. Hope you're well in these times of uncertainty. Uncertain times. Rephrased however you like. Everyone was wondering how we were all going to adapt or what everyone was going to do, and interestingly, it was something that is happening to everyone all over the planet. So yeah, it's pretty scary.
Doug Hunt is a man everyone should know. We've worked with Doug for many years as he's the kind of front of house guy from Mama's Gun, done a lot of shows, a lot of tours together. When this whole thing kicked off, this whole COVID mess, we were kind of just, jokily theorising, wouldn't it be great if we could play shows still in some way and reach people?
The person that said, sorry guys, that's not going to be possible, that's the technology is just not there. The person that said we wouldn't be able to do it was Doug Hunt.
Here's the problem. When you're on Skype or Zoom or even a phone call, there's a small amount of delay between one person making a sound and the other people hearing it. That's fine for conversation, but for music, you can only deal with a very small amount of that delay before you can no longer stay in time with the other musicians. There were platforms out there that claimed to solve this problem, but they were all lacking like one piece of the jigsaw that meant that none of them were really suitable. We couldn't really use any of them.
Fast forward maybe, a month or 2 months, it's Doug Hunt again, and he's saying, guys, I've come up with a piece of software that might be able to allow you to play together over the internet.
Back in March, when the world stopped for music, I had nothing else to do. So I just started hacking code together. The code is terrible. I'd hate to show it to a real developer, but it seems to work.
So at that point, we got involved and we started to help Doug with the kind of testing process.
Myself, being not very tech savvy, was thinking, okay, how's this going to work? Luckily, I've got my studio, so I've got all my keyboards in the studio, I've got a laptop and I've got an interface which I can connect. And it was just a matter of Doug instructing us of how to connect and work out this new software that he developed.
teams of people who are working on a common purpose work best when you let someone who does a job and they're good at what they're doing, you just let them do what they do, and you need to trust them that they'll be able to do it and they'll deliver.
He's technical, he's a very technical person, but he's also come from this sort of side where he was able to know what we wanted from, or what we would need from such a service.
Everyone has to have the gear right, has to have the internet speed right. You know, if there's one part of it that's not functioning in the way that it needs to be, then it can fall down, and it can be a kind of frustrating experience for everyone. Once those were all in place, it started to get really fun.
And it was just magical. It really was. Just because we hadn't played together in months. I think our last gig had been in December. We're kind of talking about April time at this point. So, you know, I was playing again. Like, we were playing.
This is what happens when I use Tin Pan Studio. I walk into my studio, I power it up. I've already got internet coming to my computer by cable. So it's really just a case of making sure my outputs are assigned. I plug in my instrument, my microphone into my console. I go online with the app and I connect. I see a whole load of faders come up for the other band members.
And all of a sudden I can hear the rest of the guys in the band on the other end. And I can hear my keyboards with very, very minimal latency, which is like, whoa, what's going on here? So that was quite a special moment, I think, when that first happened.
As a band, I think it took us a period of about 2 weeks of playing on Tin Pan before we felt confident enough to take the plunge.
It was starting to feel like proper music. It started to feel like performances. It started to feel like something you'd want to share with the world.
Even right up to the last minute, there was definitely a feeling of, you know, is this a good idea? What if it goes wrong whilst we're live on air?
You know, the pocket between us all together musically could fall apart. So we were quite aware of what could go wrong.
All these kind of concerns, you know, they were real fears.
But ultimately we were just like, yeah, let's go. Let's have a go. Let's try out this risk-filled endeavor. And it ended up being amazing. It felt incredible afterwards.
So that first broadcast that we played together was being broadcast on Soho Radio. That's probably why there was that tension and that excitement there, because it was on radio. But also, it was the first time that any of us had ever had a gig go straight to vinyl. It was etched to vinyl. That's a unique scenario, regardless of the fact we're in the 5 different locations, but also because that was happening simultaneously.
Knowing that 2 of those tracks were going to be cut to vinyl was a little added extra, I don't know, adrenaline rush.
So at Soho Radio, there's Lewis manning the vinyl cutting table. And when we give him the virtual nod, he's going to start up the lathe and we're going to kick into our 2 back-to-back song performance, which will be simultaneously cut. And then when the show's finished at 6, right, guys?
Yep.
Yeah. They'll broadcast... Or at the end of the show, they'll broadcast the first track off the vinyl to play it
amazing.
back.
Never felt so blessed. Oh, now it feels like something is about to change. I can feel it coming. Yes, all my life I waited for this day. Maybe we won't ever get the chance again.
Apparently it was a world first. It felt very special. Let's face it, you know, if you're given 70 or 80 years on this planet, do special things with it. You know, that's why we get together. It's why people get married. It's why you do music for a living.
After we'd done the initial Soho Radio stream of just 3 songs, I was absolutely raring to go with a full set.
You know, it was exciting. It was something that really had to be considered. But you know, there was going to have to be this kind of improvisational element and this element of seriously playing, you know, creating music together at the same time. Because if you've been to a Mum with Guns show, you know that We love to play. We love to play with each other. It's not just get the songs nailed. It's, you know, it's all about getting into the moment, you know, around these sort of really crafted songs.
It was meant to be like 45 minutes, but we ended up playing over an hour because, you know, I think it just flowed.
Much more like a show, I think, than the first radio session we did. This was, we're playing to our fans now. That's what it was for me.
Like strangers on the street, oh, you just passing by. Like strangers on the street, you just pass me by.
I got the same kind of adrenaline rush, the same kind of buzz that I get at a regular gig.
That wonderful atmosphere that only really occurs when something is genuinely live.
You know, it's like when it stops and I took my headphones off, it's like, man, I've just come off stage.
The only difference was I wasn't actually in the same physical space as my bandmates, and I couldn't see them.
I thought the show was a great success, and in fact everyone thought it was, and we were able to comment as they came through during the show. So that was great to connect with the fans.
There's people like, this isn't real, this is fake, and then we respond real time and freak them out because they're like, oh my God, it is real, I'm so sorry.
That whole experience was just fantastic and a lovely kind of getaway from the doom and gloom of COVID-19 for sure.
That's mental, really, isn't it? Just absolute kudos to Doug Hunt for developing that sort of scenario. The Tin Pan Sessions is an EP that's recorded in 5 different locations, live. It's never been done before.
It's made the impossible possible.
Hopefully, it'll still be around for people to kind of listen to and go, wow, that's how they did it. Cool.
Thank you, Tin Pan. Thank you, Doug Hunt.
I know that we can make it. I know darn well that we can work it out. I know we can, yes we can. Why can't we live with one of them again? I know